Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Alondra Villarreal. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. Todd McClure next hour. Todd Walker in hour 3. College baseball has a national champion. Surprise, surprise. It's from the SEC. NBA draft is tonight. The NCAA changing how they do business regarding age. We got a ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
I am going to ask you to operate with a little bit of suspended disbelief, okay? I need you to take a little journey with me here. Yesterday, Monday, Dusty May, Michigan head basketball coach Dusty May, became former Michigan head basketball coach Dusty May to take the job of the Dallas Mavericks. You probably saw that story, big giant news nationally. And no, we're not a Michigan basketball show here. We're not a Dallas Mavericks show here or anything of the sort. But I asked you to go on this journey with me because I'm going to connect the dots for you. So Dusty May leaves Michigan. Remember, Michigan, who just in the first week in April won the national championship. So a little more than 2 months later, quite literally on the day, Monday was the day Michigan was supposed to begin their summer workouts. Their first workout together as defending champs was supposed to be Monday. They had to cancel it because their coach left. That is relevant because if a coach leaves, as you well know, it opens up a portal window for players on that team. So, with Dusty May leaving and Mike Boynton being promoted to the interim head coach, Michigan players have 15 days to decide if they want to enter the transfer portal. You get where I'm going at here. A Michigan roster that they had really done tremendous work and used a lot of resources to dump into the portal because, look, they had to replace potentially 3 lottery picks, including Axel Lendenborg. Remember, one of the players Michigan added is former LSU forward Jalen Reed. But I bring this up because all of these Michigan players now are going to have a decision to make. Do they stay in Ann Arbor or do they hit the portal? And we all know Michigan has resources aplenty. LSU fans know it probably better than anyone. Hello, Bryce Underwood. Here's a $12 million bag dropped in your lap a week before signing day to flip from a school you'd been committed to for a year. We get it. So Michigan's got money, but LSU's kind of got money too. Remember about a month ago, there was an announcement of that dinner that was going to happen at Supper Club, and it was like $2,500 a head to get in. It was a fundraiser for Will Wade and the basketball program. They had it last night. They raised $2.5 million at that dinner. One night, one dinner, very powerful room, raised $2.5 million at Supper Club on Monday night for the basketball roster for this year. I think they do an eye. Anyway, all that to say, the player that most people seemingly are keeping an eye on is Elliot Cadeau. Now, if you're a fan of men's college basketball, you'll remember Elliot Cadeau. If you don't remember the name, you'll remember him. Like big, wild, floppy hair. He's the point guard who just was named the Final Four's most outstanding player on the team that won the national championship. Cadeau started his career at North Carolina. Now, if I go back, okay, as a high school prospect, he was a big-time prospect. He was a 5-star. In the composite, he was the number 11 player in America when he signed in 2023 with North Carolina. He plays 2 seasons at North Carolina. As a freshman, 37 games, 7 points, 4 assists a game. As a sophomore, plays in 37 games, 9 points, 6 rebounds per game. Decides to go in the transfer portal after his sophomore year. Remember this timeline. He enters the portal on March 25th of last year. 6 days later, he commits to Michigan. He probably knew what was going down, right? Well, Will Wade took the NC State job on March 23rd. So Will Wade arrived in Raleigh 2 days before Elliot Cadeau entered the transfer portal. Now, Cadeau very quickly landed in Ann Arbor, but if you don't think Will Wade hopped in his car, maybe rode a bicycle, we know he loves to jog, maybe jogged a couple miles from Raleigh there to Chapel Hill. If you don't believe they at least had a conversation, I got some beachfront property in Bunkie I'd like to sell you. There's some kind of relationship there. Now, I want to be clear. Elliot Cadeau, as of now, is not in the transfer portal and has not indicated he plans to. However, I'm perusing the interwebs today, and there's a piece over at CBS Sports. I think CBS Sports is pretty credible. You can make up your mind. There's a piece at CBS Sports which notes that point guard Elliot Cadeau is the headliner. I'm reading. The 6'1" senior was named most outstanding player in the Final Four after depositing 19 points in the championship win over UConn and dicing up Arizona for 13 points and 10 assists. By the way, Dusty May, 2 weeks ago, Dusty May said this about Elliot Cadeau.
Well, based on his performance last year, our expectations would be that he's going to be an All-American point guard for us this year. We had Yaxel as an All-American last year and Adai and Merez as all Big Ten players. And now we think both of our guards in the backcourt should be all Big Ten performers, which puts you in contention to be an All-American. But also just continue to improve in every facet. His leadership improved, his defense, obviously his shooting and his passing, the most obvious things continue to improve, but just his ability to impact winning, I think, was on full display late in the year, and we're lucky to have him because he makes everyone around him significantly better.
Okay. That's Dusty May 2 weeks ago talking about Elliot Cadeau. In this piece at CBS Sports notes, while contenders like Duke, Michigan State, Illinois, Florida, and UConn have exhausted almost all of their cap space, there are hungry programs that could put desirable pitches together. Quote, LSU is still in the market for a point guard, especially since Israeli star Yamadar, who was slated to sign a reported $5 million deal with Will Wade, is not expected to be cleared by the NCAA. They go on to mention also Iowa and St. John's as potential suitors. So I'm not sitting here taking this pluck from the air. I'm reading that from CBS Sports, and I can certainly connect some of the dots. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. By the way, I'm also not convinced Yamadar is going to be ineligible. LSU is going to have to file a waiver. He's the 25-year-old guard, as we all know, and people melted over that. Never mind the fact that there were 107 players in college basketball a year ago that were 25 years old or older, 105 last year. But when Will Wade does it, oh my God, oh the humanity. And also we had a 28-year-old Heisman winner in Chris Wenke. Spare me your feigned indignance. You want to change the rule, change the rule. But until you do, shut up. One thing we know for sure. You got 4 transfers already here. Abdi Bashir, Divine Ugachukwu, Austin Nunez, and Mo Diabate. 4 college transfers are already here. You had a Jordan Bender out of the high school ranks. That gives you 5. R.J. Lewis is a big question because he signed a 2-way contract. I don't think he should ever play a minute at LSU, but they're going to try. That would give you 6. Yang, Ruzic, Desire, Santos, and then Madar. That's another 5. That puts you at 11 right now. You got room. Now remember, Will Wade on John Rothstein's podcast, right after he took the LSU job, talked about a mistake he made in building his roster at NC State.
One thing that we did last year that I made a mistake on was, we basically paid 11 guys when we went out and got 11 guys and had a lot of depth. And depth's really important for practice. It's not as important for games when you're only playing 7 or 8 guys, 9 max. And so we had some dead money on the roster. So one thing I'm focusing on here is we're really going to pay 7 or 8 guys at LSU this year, and we'll fill out the back half of the roster with some guys who could help us in a pinch. But we want to put our resources into. We want to put our resources into those main guys.
5 international guys. RJ Lewis would be 6. 4 transfers. That puts you at 10. Do you have room? Maybe we'll see based on what he said there. But the bottom line is, it's not me saying it. It's CBS Sports that's putting it out there as a possibility, and I'm connecting the dots. It might make sense. And we all know how this works, okay? Agents are involved. Back channel conversations happen. We'll see if anything ever materializes. But you better believe Will Wade is going to be as aggressive as possible to get the best players possible on the roster and pay what he's got to pay to get them. LSU had a giant fundraiser one night ago where they raised $2.5 million in one dinner for this year's roster. And they're going to have to go through an appeals process or a waiver process for a lot of their international players. You get a sure thing. And a guy like Elliot Cadeau, who is coach, who just left for the NBA, said they expect him to be an All-American this year and make him your point guard plug and play, who just won a national championship and has that pedigree. Yes, please. Sign me up. Keep an eye on Elliot Cadeau, possibly a guy from Michigan who could hit the portal with Dusty May's absence, and LSU would be a landing spot if it heads that way. We'll keep you posted. All right, it's After Further Review. Show Up and Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with a great taste of Bud Light. Headed to the beach, hanging out by the pool, watching the World Cup. Whatever you might be doing this summer, make sure you do it with the delicious taste of Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU, and the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. And I love telling you as well, especially this time of year, you'll find the officially licensed Folds of Honor boxes and cases. So know that every time you buy a case of Bud Light with the Folds of Honor logo on it, you're supporting Folds of Honor, which is a great charitable endeavor. Anheuser-Busch has been there since the inception of that promotion with Folds of Honor, providing scholarships for the children of our brave fallen servicemen and women. So it's a great thing to do. So as we always say, this Bud's for you. Raise one and drink easy with a great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. Shea Dixon joins us, talk some Cruton every Tuesday. We'll do that next on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
AFR.
Boy, if you want your business to act and operate as efficiently as possible, you got to have the right people. I mean, no matter what you do, it makes sense. I mean, I think about what we do here at Guarantee, how we have 10 hours of local programming, and then we take that local program and we post-produce it across every platform that matters, in short-form video and long-form video and YouTube and shorts and reels and podcasts and everything. Well, you got to have the right people and the right systems in place to take that and churn. Well, it's all about having the right people to make that happen. No matter what business you're in, if you need the right people, you need Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. Jareth Knockan and his team are awesome. They're one of the top 100 private businesses in Baton Rouge a year ago, and no doubt they'll receive that honor again this year as we continue to see their amazing growth. It's Glow Resources. No matter where your business is or what your business is, if you're struggling to find the right people, Glow Resources can help. GLO, glowresources.com.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Every Tuesday, we visit with Shea Dixon from On 3, the Bengal Tiger. My goodness, what a busy June it has been, as it always is, I guess, on the recruiting calendar. Hey, Shea, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
Tired, but doing well, Matt. How are you?
Doing awesome, man. We appreciate you as always. Hey, let's just start with the commit LSU got, flipping wide receiver Gary Burney from Houston. Tell us about Burney and how they got this done.
Yeah, he's a kid out of, well, let me start by saying this does not affect five-star Easton Royal in any way. So anybody who's wondering, did they take a commit at receiver because they know something the public doesn't about Easton Royal, who remains committed to Texas, but is looking around? That's not the case. This is separate. In fact, I would tie it, Matt. Remember Miguel Whitley, who has been the second highest ranked receiver prospect here in Louisiana coming out of St. Aug. I tied more to him. I mean, he was the guy who had an LSU offer, had been on campus, had set up a summer official visit, and he pops for Ole Miss that same day as when Bernie got offered. And ironically, the same day Bernie committed to Houston. So Willie Fritz got him a good one out of North Louisiana. And a couple of weeks later, LSU does what LSU does and brings him in for the visit, flips him. But a kid out of Bossier City Parkway, Matt, who he's got good size, he's got good film, and look, I think he's 6'2.5", legit, so nearing 6'3", in that 185, 190 range as a junior in high school. So a big kid already, and a 3-star. But I think as people look at his senior season, they'll start to kind of get a better feel for his rankings and where he stacks up. And I think this is one that maybe will outplay his ranking as they bring, maybe. I love Louisiana guys at receiver. So the more they can stack up, the better. And look, Matt, he's a guy I think comes in and will stick around. I mean, he said LSU was the one I've always wanted as a kid, offer wise. When they offered me, I set up my official visit. I came in. We saw everything. I committed. That's the end of it. So I think for a Louisiana kid, much like these young Destrehan kids on the team right now, I think those are the ones that are going to stick around in this wild world of the transfer portal and NIL and everything else.
Shea, the other, I guess, significant name this weekend was 5-star edge Anthony Sweeney, who was on campus. Another 5-star edge. They have an actual shot here flipping him from Texas Tech?
They definitely have a shot. And look, it's Sterling Lucas. And this is one of those things where back in the day, we would say it's tough for a recruiter to come into a new school, right, Matt? And it's his first year on the trail. He's got to get to know guys. We saw this back with Jamar Cain, ironically, same position. But he's coming from South Carolina. Sterling Lucas gets hired by Lane Kiffin. And he was well known for everyone. He was recruiting at South Carolina at Edge, and he was recruiting that DMV area, which is sort of like in the recruiting world, they call it D-line heaven over there. It's where all of these big kids come out of. And he's got ties all through the area. So he was popping them to South Carolina left and right. And I would say picked up right where he left off. And gosh, you could forget it. But remember, the storyline was that Jaden Bryant had decommitted, and he committed like the day Sterling Lucas got hired here. He's a South Carolina kid and never even visited LSU, just committed, was ready to play for Sterling Lucas. He ends up flipping to Miami. Well, we fast forward, 2 weeks, and he has KJ Green committed, Chris Whitehead committed. These are kids out of Georgia and Virginia. So both ranked as top 10 edge rushers. And then we get to the guy we're talking about here, and Anthony Sweeney pops onto campus Friday, has been committed to Texas Tech, but has a long-standing relationship far before Sterling Lucas got to Baton Rouge because of him recruiting him to South Carolina. And he said of all the coaches, he talked with Chad Simmons at Rivals, he said, I am committed to Texas Tech, but you don't know. It's a long time till December. LSU is a great place, and I have a really great relationship with Sterling Lucas, and I've known him as a coach for as long as anyone. So I would keep an eye on this one, given, look, Sterling Lucas's rep for bringing in elite players and the fact that he's still swinging for the fences with guys like this while he already has 2 top 10 edge rushers committed. For note, Sweeney, a 5-star, is the number 2 edge rusher in the country. So just a little glimpse into kind of how things stack up there.
Shea, another 5-star they had for a midweek official was 5-star receiver Manchin Sales. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's very clear they're still targeting elite level receivers. Can you tell us how that visit came together and where they stand there?
Yeah, I loved this visit because, see, Matt, back in our day, and he goes to Lawrence North in Indy, it was basketball. I mean, that's where Greg Oden went.
Okay.
Gosh, who else was on that Ohio State? Eric Gordon. All those guys went and graduated together at Lawrence North back when Indianapolis was popping off. So now it's coming into a football town. We've seen LSU hand out a lot of offers, but he is Easton Royal is your number 1 receiver in the rankings. Sales is number 2. So 6'5", 200, a really big kid. And he had made an early, I guess this doesn't sound crazy anymore, right? Andy's from Indianapolis, so you know what I'm about to say. He made an early official visit to Indiana, and they have been considered the leader. They very much are the in-state team prioritizing them. Oh, and they just won a national championship. So they've prioritized him for a while now. At the same time, Bama, LSU, these teams have all kind of taken a swing at him. I'm looking right now at Matt, where all he dropped into, because that midweek, as you said, a midweek official visit kind of popped up out of not nowhere, but he had set it up rather quickly. Texas got one, Ohio State got one. I mentioned Bama and then Indiana. So I don't think Texas is a major player here. They seem to have some other guys in there at receiver that they did just host him. So we'll see. Obviously, they have Royal committed. I don't think Royal and Sales end up at the same school. So maybe if you're an LSU fan, root for Sales to go to Texas. And then maybe Royal ends up at LSU. But you can get greedy and think they'll sign both. I don't think that's the reality of it. And I would still say that, are they recruiting him? Yes, but so are a number of other teams. While in the Royal recruitment, I think you're kind of down to LSU and Texas.
Okay, so let's go to Easton Royal. Shea Dixon's with us on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Official visit season's over. It's Florida, Texas, LSU. What's the latest on Easton Royal?
And the most fun part was actually my entire day. I think it was Thursday, maybe. It ended how it began, but there was a lot in between. So Easton Royal set to go to his official visit to Texas. Buzz is growing that LSU might have gotten him to cancel it, and in turn, maybe reopen things or flip to LSU, and it starts spreading everywhere. And Texas is on the phone working it. And by day's end, Easton and his mom talk with the Texas staff. They're going to go visit Texas. This might have been Wednesday because they ended up there on Thursday evening. But it at least pointed out that, look, there's a lot of buzz that keeps growing around this. Now, he made official visits to Florida, LSU, Texas, in that order. He's got 1 million offers. And remember, he cut Ole Miss, some of the other finalists from even visits. Like, he was like, I'm just down to these teams. Depending on who you talk to out there, like Florida can feel good, Texas, LSU. My read on it is he sticks with Texas or goes to LSU. And I've always thought he flips to LSU. And they've been right there, whether you want to talk NIL-wise, pitch-wise, paying attention to him, doing everything they can. But at the same time, Texas has done a lot of counterpunching. I go back to it, Matt. It is not a coincidence that as news leaked out that Lane Kiffin was being hired about 48 hours before it became official is when Texas got Easton Royal to commit, which was back at the end of November. So they'll take LSU till the end here, but I don't think the end will be December. I really do think in the next, I don't know, call it before the end of the summer, right, that he is going to tell all these teams a final decision.
You think when that'll happen, Shea?
I think over the summer at some point. I don't see him dragging this into a senior season. Your senior year at Brother Martin, he'll leave in January to go be an early enrollee. Brother Martin's always competing for to get into the playoffs, everything like that, and that's just the nature of it right now. Is often kids will shut it down before their senior years. But I'll add this, Matt, and this isn't specific to Easton. I've seen this with a lot of other kids and at other schools. It's a kind of a take it or leave it approach right now where, let's say in the NIL world, Matt, I'm giving you $50 and that's our offer. And okay. And I'm making my visits. And then I say, Matt, look, if you shut it down now, it'll be $100. But if you don't, that 50 might not be on the table anymore. We're down to 40 or 30. Then all of a sudden kids are shutting it down. And look, they've got agents, they've got parents. I'm not saying these 17-year-olds are deciding or even have all of the knowledge of what's happening here, but there are kids popping for teams after visits where a lot of colleges, and I'm speaking beyond LSU, were like, we had just recruited him for a year and he was about to visit next weekend and now he's not visiting at all. And the response back was, it was a take it or leave it sort of offer for me.
It's like Shark Tank. Yeah, here's my offer, but you got to say yes right now or it's off the table. It's kind of like with
that would. Yeah, imagine that if it were like Shark Tank and you're in Lane's office and he's hyping you up and you're like, this is it. And then he's like, I'm out, Wait, what? I like you as a player, but I'm out.
Is LSU still in for Albert Simeon, who we know is going to commit on June 26th, so we're 3 days away?
Yeah, so that's Friday. I do not expect it to be LSU. And that's not a shock to anyone, I don't think, that pays attention to high school recruiting. If you can remember, there was a wave of official visitors back in mid-April, and then there was like a big gap, and then we hit June, and it was like back to back to back to back. Well, he was in that first wave. We haven't seen him back on campus since. He's made, for a long time, I mean, he probably made 10 visits to A&M over the course of his recruitment, and everyone had thought A&M, and it may well be. But Notre Dame's always hung around. Freeman came down to Louisiana to recruit him. His family's liked Notre Dame. I mean, I think that obviously they're picked. Are they preseason favorites to win the Natty? Like, they're in a good spot as a program. He makes his official visit this past weekend, Matt. I often say, watch what they do, not what they say. When all of a sudden, he got home on Monday and told Steve Wiltfong by Wednesday I can have a private decision, and then hours later tells Hayes Fawcett that he will announce a decision by Friday. That means your decision is probably made. And if you're doing it that quickly coming off a Notre Dame visit, if I'm A&M, I'm a little bit nervous now knowing that, okay, hold up, this is probably not as quickly as we anticipated this decision happening. So everybody's picks have been on A&M. I wouldn't be shocked if Notre Dame ends up pulling this off, but LSU's put the focus elsewhere. And again, like I said, not a big surprise. He visited in April and hasn't been back since. And if you're kind of watching what guys do, that's not the actions of a kid who's likely to commit to you.
Final thing for you, Shea, and we always appreciate the time, man. With the OV season kind of over now, what's next in the recruiting calendar? What should we be keeping an eye on?
Well, with all this stuff happening in Washington, I've tried to petition that a dead period be dead. Nothing's allowed to happen. You can't commit. You can't do anything. Give us a break here, guys. But it's about to be commit season. A lot of kids doing July 1, others doing July 4th. We're kind of in that range of when they'll start to kind of reveal those dates. Cornerback Brandon Sherrard, who Corey Raymond's high on, is going to announce on the 1st, I believe, on Rivals. And then I know Anding, Jaden Anding, 4-star safety up at Ruston, Aiden's brother, told us he's going to announce. He'll figure it out, but in the next couple of weeks. I like LSU there. So they'll have, I think, one this week that will announce in linebacker, Devon, I always mess up his last name, Smith, coming out of Westfield in Texas. He's committed to Arizona, but someone Baker has liked for a while. So I think we'll start seeing. Don't be shocked, Matt, if maybe once a week you hear news of either getting a commit or a kid announcing who you feel like you're right there in it with.
Shea Dixon, On 3, the Bengal Tiger. Commit season's here. Great time to get subscribed up over at On 3, part of the Rivals Network over there. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. We always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Recruiting dead period. They're lying to you, Matt.
There is no such thing. Thanks, Shea.
Bye.
All right, man, we'll see. It's after further review. And we are brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing, where last week we announced our new partner, Drew Brees. Not a paid endorser. Drew is a new partner in Parish Construction and Roofing. What a great time for us to roll out our next giveaway, which we are giving away 2 fortified roofs, one in Baton Rouge, one in Greater New Orleans area. So Greater Baton Rouge and Greater New Orleans. You can find out more info on our social media or on parishbuilt.com. Remember, we've been telling you about how the state opened up a new lottery for fortified roofs. Well, that lottery window is now closed. Whether you get picked or not, we're giving away for free 2 fortified roofs, one in Greater Baton Rouge, one in Greater New Orleans. You can learn more at parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. As we always say, do business with someone you know. Storm season here. If you have roof damage or think you might, let us help you out. Me, Tilly, Terrio, our great team, and now, of course, number 9, the GOAT, Drew Brees, part of the Parish team as well. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing. All right, I got a break, y'all. We'll come back. There is a national champion in college baseball, and surprise, surprise, for the 6th consecutive year, resides in the Southeastern Conference. Talk about it next on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, 1hourbr.com. You see them everywhere. The big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side, they're all over town because they help your friends and neighbors just like they do me and you and so many for the last 4 decades. Look, bottom line is when River City's 1 Hour Air comes to the house, they're going to do a thorough inspection, and they're going to give you a good, better, and best option if you need repair work done. They're not going to force more service on you. They're going to tell you what your options are. I'll give you an example. When we moved into the house we're in presently, the bedroom AC was the original on the home. We knew it was on its last leg. We decided to keep doing modest repairs every year and maintenance and service to keep it going as long as it could. And they kept doing it with us. They let us decide. They're the best. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001. Better coverage for less money. That's what they do over at Insurance Network of Louisiana. They shop independently for free to find you better coverage for less money. Thomas, an AFR listener, saved $731 on his auto policy. There was another listener who saved $2,900 annually, had a high auto rate with State Farm. They were able to smash it with Geico. Another one saved $1,476 annually, had Allstate. They smashed it with Progressive. The bottom line is our friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana represent some of the top-rated companies in the world, and they shop independently for free for you to find you better coverage for less money. If they find you better coverage, great, switch. If not, shake your hand, be on the way. Maybe call them again in a year, let them shop again. Also, business insurance as well. Always concerned with the bottom line in your business. Do you have hidden expenses in your insurance? Let them shop. Insurance Network of Louisiana, 293-0450.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Championship 13-2 over Carolina.
That's how it sounded on ESPN as Oklahoma wins the College World Series. Of course, the fifth different SEC team since 2021 to win the College World Series. In an era defined by parity, maybe this is an illustration, but it's an illustration of parity just in one league, because there ain't no parity around college baseball. We can talk all we want about how the ACC seemingly pushed forward this year, and I thought North Carolina was the most talented team remaining in the tournament, and they got their head kicked in by Oklahoma, an Oklahoma team which, by the way, finished 11th in the SEC. Y'all, do you Oklahoma was anemic the final month of the season and got beat by a 9-21 LSU team in their opening round game at the SEC tournament. Like when LSU needed to win the SEC tournament to get into the regional field, their first game was against OU and LSU smashed them. Like, this was not a good team. And then they got hot. One of the best pitching coaches in the game, and Skip Johnson, had the right arms. They played their best. Shows again. Not necessarily the best team. It's the hottest team in that tournament field. And Oklahoma, they finished 11th in the Southeastern Conference. 11th in the league and won the national championship. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but this is why it is so hard to win a championship. This is why it's so hard for Jay Johnson to do what he did, winning 2 titles in 3 years. Because the only league investing the resources at scale and depth throughout the entire conference is the SEC. So you go through a 30-game meat grinder and you come out sub 500, barely get into the field, and you win the whole damn thing. Why? Because you're battle tested. And going to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech in front of 3,000 people ain't that big a deal when you've already been to Baton Rouge for a 3-game series and you want a weekend where you scored 9 runs in 3 games. It's Oklahoma. And I'll tell you, I know we mentioned this as well, but I haven't seen this really reported anywhere. I'm a little surprised that it hasn't been, but one of the things I was told from someone intimately involved in the situation was that Oklahoma, right before the tournament, late in the season, had a players-only meeting, and the players took it upon themselves to say, we're going to start swinging for the fences. We need to start elevating the baseball and hitting home runs instead of playing small ball. And they went and hit 25 homers in the NCAA tournament. And it obviously transformed that offense. They had guys who were capable, and they gave their pitching run support, so they're able to be more aggressive on the mound with their arm talent, and you saw what happened. I'm not happy about it. Like, say it all the time. I am not a pull for the conference guy. Oklahoma winning a championship is not a good thing for LSU. Like I've told you, Thomas Allen is a righty from Louisiana Tech who's in the portal. And he's basically down to Arkansas, Oklahoma, LSU, and Ole Miss. How do you think that, like, you don't think Skip Johnson right now has a hell of a trump card to throw on the table if they weren't already in the league or in the lead? And if he needs to go get this guy and goes to an Oklahoma booster, you don't think those Oklahoma boosters are going to be real eager right now to give that dude what he wants after they just won their first national title since 1994? Come on. I don't cheer for the conference, but it's also undeniable that the SEC is at a completely different level than everybody else in baseball, and I don't know that anybody can shrink that gap. All right, we're talking about Rouse's. We're going to go around the SEC in just a quick second. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. So we can go to the website, check out the weekly ad at Rouse's.com. As we look, it's only Tuesday, but the weekend will be here before you know it. We're here heading toward the 4th of July here in a couple of weeks. So 11 days away from the 4th of July. If you're going to be celebrating, make sure if you need whatever you got to throw something on the grill. They got plenty at the meat market there, seafood market as well. If you want to have some great fish to throw on the grill, some char-grilled oysters, you could do that. They got it all over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints. Great bourbon selection, tons of beers, craft beer, local beer. They got it all for you over at Rouse's. You need to do your grocery shopping. You can do so if you're buying on a budget. They're convenient as well. Remember, go to the app, pick out your items. Your personal shopper will pick them up for you. You pull right in the spot. They bring them out to your car. It's that easy. It'll save you time. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home. All right, let's go quickly. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Oklahoma Sooners.
Shortstop Jackson Willits was named the Men's College World Series Most Outstanding Player. Dude hit an even 500, 13 for 26, including 5 multi-hit games. By the way, the 13 hits, that's a record for Oklahoma in the College World Series. 4 doubles, a homer, 6 runs, 7 RBI in 6 games. Willits was awesome. He's your most outstanding player.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Bama landed a commitment from 3-star edge Tyler Younger. No doubt that's exactly what Bama envisioned when Nick Saban retired and they hired Kalen DeBose. Let's go get a bunch of 3-star edge rushers. That's it, no doubt. Keep it hot there, Kalen DeBose. He picked Alabama over Stanford and Rutgers. That's exactly the type of recruiting battles Bama always fancied themselves being a part of. 3-star edge rushers over Stanford and Rutgers. That a babe. Stay hot, Kalen DeBose.
The Texas Longhorns.
And 2027 wide receiver Kyron Brown picked Texas over Kansas State and Northwestern. 6'1", 185-pounder. He's the 18th commit in the 2027 class. He picked Texas over Kansas State, Mississippi State, Baylor, Northwestern, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and others. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Bunky and below, you want a deer? You're going to Sunshine. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com. All right, I got to knock out our final break of hour number 1. Todd McClure in 45 minutes. He's going to be inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame this weekend. Really excited to talk to Big Roo in a little bit. Todd Walker joined the show as well. Got to get Todd's thoughts on Oklahoma, the College World Series, LSU's portal class. A lot of stuff therein. We'll do that coming up here in just a bit. Let me break. God, what a fast-moving hour. If you missed it earlier today, the NCAA did approve, the Division I Council approved the age-based eligibility model. I'll explain what this means next. It's AFR.
After further review.
We had an awesome Father's Day, man. So much fun. Had my dad and grandpa over. Gramps is 93. Shout out, GOAT. In-laws came over. Had an awesome day. Ate some barbecue. And, of course, we swam. You know, the pool becomes sort of like the centerpiece of all your spring and summer family gatherings. If you've ever thought of putting in a pool, or maybe you have a pool that needs to be remodeled or updated, renovated, you want Duplessis Pools. I'm going to remind you about Duplessis Pools because just last week, for the second consecutive year, Duplessis Pools was named a top 50 pool builder in America. By the way, they were the only Louisiana-based pool company to earn that designation. So I say it, but there's some pretty strong third-party validation for you there as well. They'll build you a beautiful pool. That lasts, and you'll have a great customer service experience. Start online today at DuplessisPools.com. DuplessisPools.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I got Gordy rushed.
What happened?
Well, got a great event coming up tonight honoring our late great friend, the great Ruffin Rodrigue, over at LeBear's Epicurean Society. It's be a great fundraiser. Excited to go to it. Real genuinely. Our friends from Rev, Tressie, and Randy will be there, and it's gonna be an awesome night. And Gordy asked me to sit at the table. We have a table. Of course, that'd be awesome. I would love to go. Found out yesterday. Yeah, it's black tie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's very Gordy behavior.
If you don't own a tux, which I don't, which I need to change that, then you go scrambling. So I called our buddy Sam over at Harper's Haberdashery, went in, saw Tony, Sam, got fitted. They're like, we'll make sure you get taken care of. Made it happen. Here's the problem. The tux didn't get to Harper's today until about 2 o'clock. Well, I'm in downtown Baton Rouge. There's no way I'm getting there back here. You can't risk it, right?
Where is it?
Highland by French Market Bistro.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty far.
I-10 traffic. Anyway, so Tony delivered it here.
Shout out to Tony.
Tony's sitting right there, hanging out with us, watching the show now. Yeah. He's off of work, and he's like, he's done for the day. I'm like, bro, you can hang. So he's hanging. He's already off of work. Best dressed guy that's ever been in the studio.
Truly.
Shout out to Harper's Haberdashery. Shout out to Sam and to Tony. Guys.
Shout out.
They undid my Gordy rushed. I got Gordy rushed, and they undid it. So I'm excited. So I'm a jet out of here, Delandra, and go straight to LeBear's. Put on my tux, go to the casino, the event center over at LeBear's, and have a great night tonight. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, hey, Gordy, by the way, thanks for the heads up.
That, for real, is like very Gordy Rush to do that. I thought you were going to say he's not going. That's another thing he would do.
Oh, no, he's going. No,
yeah.
no, especially
for that, yes, but
especially
like that's another thing that he would do too.
He would know. He knows shit. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. I do want to. All right, we're gonna switch. We're gonna switch Todd Walker. Todd is gonna join us right after the top of the hour. So 10 minutes from right now, Todd's gonna be on the show. I want to talk to him about Oklahoma, College World Series, LSU, the portal class roster, all that stuff. So we're gonna get to it in just a smidge. The NCAA, if you haven't followed along with this today, the Division I Council has approved the age-based model. What that means is this policy will begin on initial enrollment in college or the start of the academic year after the athlete's 19th birthday. And it's supposed to go into effect this summer. So basically, all them old dudes in college, you aren't going to be able to be an old dude in college anymore. Forever, it's been capped to where you've had 5 to play 4 with no age restrictions. Now, the athlete's eligibility clock starts on full-time enrollment or the academic year following your 19th birthday. So if you are 19 and you go play professional baseball, like you leave high school, go play 5 years of professional baseball, your 5-year clock has expired. You cannot come back and play. Like, think Zach von Rosenberg, who went high school, pro, came back and played football. Sorry. You're done. That can't happen anymore. And part of this is closing the loophole that, quite honestly, Will Wade is exposing right now. Now, there's only one player that's committed to LSU that would be ineligible based on this, and that's Yam Madar. Yam Madar is 25 years old. He's the Israeli point guard. And you can laugh and roll your eyes, but Yam Madar did provide 3 years of military service in the Israeli army. So they were going to have to get a waiver for Yam Madar anywhere. And there are those exceptions for female athletes for pregnancy, for military service, or for like a religious mission. So think BYU. for the LDS mission. So those are some of the exceptions that you need a waiver. But other than that, it's no more like, well, you were injured, you can get a 6th year. There is no more of that. It's you have 5 to play for, and it starts upon enrollment or the academic year after you turn 19 years old. So they are trying to close the loophole and get rid of the older players playing college sports. And I think we'd probably all agree that's okay. Like, that's a good thing. I'm totally fine with that, as I think most people would be. What I can't be down with is vilifying Will Wade for doing something that everyone is doing. As we mentioned, Heath Schroyer said this on AFR when we were in Lafayette or in Lake Charles a couple of weeks ago. 257 players in college basketball last year that were 24 years old or older. 106 that were 25 or older. 106 student athletes were in college basketball last year that were 25 years old or older. So don't vilify Will Wade for doing something that everybody else is doing. You don't like the rule, change it, which they're doing. But as long as it's a valid rule, Will Wade's just doing what everybody else is doing. He's doing it better than everybody else. All right, SportsCenter's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, we'll talk to our buddy T-Dub. Excited to have that conversation. Also, Whit Weeks was on Tyrann Matthews' pod. We'll recap some of that AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com, Arco.com. Y'all, when the power goes out at your home and you have a Generac standby generator, awesome. Like nothing ever happened. What about for your business? That's where Arco comes in. ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com, Arco.com. That's the website. Start there. Baton Rouge, Bossier, Harvey, Lake Charles, Mandeville, Mobile, Alabama, LaPorte, Texas, San Antonio, all the way up to Little Rock. Y'all, draw a big circle. North to Little Rock, east to Mobile, west to San Antonio. Draw a big circle. That is their entire footprint. No matter where you fall in that footprint, and you're a business, industrial, commercial facility, and you need industrial Generac generator power, Arco Power Systems can serve you. They're awesome business, great operation. It's so impressive to hear the stories when storms come, like the National Guard comes and gets their people, Black Hawk helicopters to go bring them to help mobilize. Incredibly important business. Arco Power Systems, Arco.com.